to thank you for tuning in to Beach Woodcraft. Today I'm going to show off a new cabinet that I've built to go underneath my cabinet saw's extension wings. And I'm also going to show you a Blum alternative drawer slide that I used on this build. And I'll tell you what I like about it and things that I felt were a little bit shortcoming. So first of all, I'd like to give credit to a content creator whose channel is called Bevelish Creations. He inspired me to build this, and I used a couple of the aspects of his construction for mine. Most notably is these slides, which house or will house the blades for my saw. Built my cabinet a little bit differently, and of course, if you choose to make one, you're going to be limited by the dimensions that you have underneath the extension wings of your cabinet saw. One of the things I did differently was that I put a center divider so that I can have access from both the front and the rear of the saw. I'll have access to the things that I need while I'm using the saw at the front, and I'll have access to other items that I might use on my assembly table from the back side of the saw. I'll probably put a shelf or two in here. Haven't really decided yet exactly what I'm going to do, but so that's a handy storage item. Now when you're designing your drawers, of course, you have a few things you need to consider. First of all is how much space is there in your cabinet? And second of all, what are the limitations of the slide manufacturers? What sizes do they make? And how locked into that dimension are the drawers? So they're pretty locked in from what I've found. These are 15-inch drawer slides that I used. And so the drawer dimension is very much dictated, at least the depth of the drawer is very much dictated by that. So in choosing or deciding on a 15-inch drawer, the other thing that because I knew I wanted to put the center divider in, I used the manufacturer's directions to calculate the minimum cabinet depth such that I would have enough room to mount the slides and the drawers would open and close, but I would still have some room on the other side for shelves or whatever I eventually decide to do over there. Now, that brings me, I hate to talk about the negatives first, but since I mentioned it, the directions that came with the drawer slides are wretchedly horrible. So, my recommendation to you, if you were going to use these drawer slides, which, by the way, I bought from cabinetparts.com, and what they come with is a pair of slides, a pair of rear mount brackets if you're mounting them in a cabinet with face frame. Obviously I didn't, so I don't need them. And a pair of the front fastener assemblies. An advantage to these over the Blum is that all these parts come with it. If you buy the Blum slides, you only get the slides. If you're building a face frame cabinet, you need to buy these separately. And you need to buy these separately. Now, Blum has many different styles. I'm not sure that they all work for all the different styles of undermount drawer slides that they make, because there's many of those as well. There's a level of complexity for you to sort out which slides will work with which fasteners and which fasteners have the features that you want. In other words, some are not adjustable and others are. So that will be an adventure to sort through in your purchase. So a couple of hints about what I found out. making the drawers and mounting these slides. And being 15-inch drawer slides, I assume that the drawer should be 15 inches. And essentially it would be. However, the critical dimension, because of the way these fasten to the drawer, there's a pin at the back, which you can see right here. This pin is meant to go into this hole that you would drill on the back of your drawer. You also have to make this notch. So this, this drawer is obviously upside down, but this would go in here and that pin would sit in the hole, such as that. So the critical dimension is really from the outside face of the rear of the drawer to the inside face of the front of the drawer. That's the critical dimension. The more accurate you are on that, the better these fasteners will lock in to the slides, and I believe the adjustments, the height and the left-right adjustment will be more effective. So, when you slide the drawer in the first time and lock it into this piece, you can hear it click. The assembly will look like this on the bottom of the drawer. You can take your dimension from here. It's much easier than trying to do the calculations the manufacturer translated from some other language. I'm going to grab a tape measure. So, you can essentially measure from the front face to that pin and get 14 3/8. So this dimension from here to here for these slides is 14 3/8. To me, that's the best and easiest way to get that dimension, and will help you from making the errors that I made. This is an error. This drawer is too small. The other thing that the manufacturer did in the instructions is that they show these fasteners being mounted to the bottom of the drawer through these 3 holes, which, number one, most folks use 1/4-inch plywood for their drawer bottoms, and that would be too thin to put a screw through without it popping into the drawer. Secondly, what it does is it locks this piece down so the adjustments don't work. So ideally, what you should do is fasten this fastener to the rear of your drawer front through these holes here and here. So the directions were incorrect. I don't like incorrect directions, especially when it makes you have to redo things, take things apart and redo it. So those are the tips and the tricks. I will tell you that I tried to search through cabinetparts.com, sells Blum drawer slides, many different styles and types and so forth. And I tried to search through and get one that was comparable to a lower end unit that was comparable to these. And what I found was that this slide cost me $18.55, coming with all the pieces that you see here, except for screws. I'd source my own screws. But the Blum slides, the comparable ones I found were $29 and some cents. So that's a little more than $10 more. And the adjustable fasteners were just under $5 each. You have to buy them separately, left and right. So you get a pair of slides, but you have to buy the fasteners separately, left and right. And then if you need these pieces, you would also have to buy. I didn't look up the price of that because I didn't use these anyway. But I imagine it's not zero. So, would I recommend these slides? I think for shop furniture or more utilitarian type furniture, I absolutely would. The quality of the slides themselves is very good. I feel as though the quality of these adjustable fasteners is pretty low compared to Blum's. So if you're building fancy cabinetry for a customer or even for yourself, spend the extra money on the Blum or another brand that you may already know about and like. Spend the extra money and get something that is a bit higher quality. I will come back and let you all know after these have been opened and closed a few hundred times or a few thousand times, and see if anything breaks or anything fails or there's any problems or anything like that. So, thanks again for tuning in. I'll put links below to where you can look up the slides. I'll even put a link to the Blum slides that I compared them to, and a link to Bevlish Creations' video on his build of this cabinet. I'm not going to show the construction of the cabinet, obviously, because that's been done. I will show you one other thing in how I spaced my slides for these drawers. What I did as I installed each successive drawer, I installed the drawer. I cut this spacer, which is a bit over 1/8 of an inch, and simply placed it on top of the drawer. And I designed this cabinet so I could put the slide all the way to the rear, and I didn't have to have any, I didn't have to do a measurement or a marking or anything. So all I have to do is put the slide on my spacer, slide it all the way to the rear. I also have to use the correct one. Slide it all the way to the rear, drill my holes, and mount my screws, and I'm ready to install the next drawer. So thanks again for watching. I appreciate you following with me as I learn how to do this and try to become a little bit more natural and proficient in this video creation. If you like my channel, please subscribe. Click the like button if there's anything here that helps you in the future, and see you on the next one.